Hey mindbangers, I had to drop another vid about Severance and Bert. I'm really feeling this show and thought I'd drop some science, as the beasties used to say. We have a lot to get to, so more cowbell or more mindbang? Let's go with cowbell. Bert's true role at Lumon. Spy, scientist, or something worse. Look, we all loved Bert. He was the sweet old guy from O&D, the one who taught Irving about art and maybe, just maybe, how to love again in a soulless corporate nightmare. But then came Severance, Season 2, Episode 6, and suddenly, Bert isn't just some retiree who enjoys a quiet life of husbanding and hobbies. No, Bert might be something much bigger and a hell of a lot scarier. Because in that one dinner scene, everything changed. It was a simple line. Bert's husband Fields casually mentions that Bert has been with Lumon for 20 years. No big deal, right? Except, it is a big deal. The Severance program is only 12 years old. Fields, bless his heart, just told us that Bert has been at Lumon for 8 years longer than Severance has even existed. And what does Bert do? He corrects him, fast. A little too fast, like someone who knows they just got caught. Now this could be a throwaway moment, a slip-up in dialogue, but this is Severance. Nothing is a throwaway moment. So the question we have to ask is this: who the hell is Bert really? The theory that changes everything. If Bert has been at Lumon since before Severance, it means one of two things. Option 1. He's just an old-school company guy who stayed on when the Severance program launched. Option 2. Bert has been part of Lumon's darkest experiment since the beginning. And honestly, it's probably Option 2. Think about it. If Lumon has been messing around with severance, memory manipulation, and possibly human consciousness transfer, Bert might not just be some friendly coworker. He could be a walking experiment. Someone who has been reset, rewritten, and repurposed over and over until even he doesn't know the truth anymore. And if that's the case, it means Bert isn't just another victim. He might be one of the first test subjects, or worse, one of the people who built this nightmare in the first place. Bert as a Lumon spy. Then there's the other weird thing about Episode 6. While everyone was busy being awkward at dinner, Mr. Drummond was snooping through Irving's files. Now, why would he do that? And more importantly, why does it seem like Bert knew it was happening? It makes you wonder, was Bert ever really in love with Irving? Or was he just keeping an eye on him? We already know Irving has weird connections to the lower levels. The man dreams in black sludge, paints the same hallway over and over, and just generally seems way too drawn to the place where Lumon keeps its deepest secrets. Maybe Lumon knew Irving was going to be a problem, and maybe Bert was assigned to make sure he didn't become a problem. What better way to keep someone in check than to seduce them? Keep them distracted, keep them emotionally attached, keep them from asking the wrong questions. And if that's true, if Bert really was planted to watch Irving, then his sudden retirement starts looking a lot less like a coincidence, and a lot more like a calculated move to remove him from the situation before Irving got too close to the truth. The Cold Harbor connection. This is where things get really weird. We already know Lumon is obsessed with Keir Egan in a way that goes beyond your standard culty corporate worship. There's a good chance that the whole company exists to bring Keir back, to literally resurrect him. And that might be where Bert comes in. Because if Lumon has been experimenting with severing souls from bodies, then Bert might have been part of those early tests. Maybe he wasn't just an employee, maybe he was one of the first to be severed. Think about it. If Lumon has been trying to create a system where someone's consciousness can be stored, erased, or even transferred into a new body, they had to start somewhere. Bert has been at Lumon long enough that he might be one of the first people they tried this on. Maybe he's not even Bert anymore. Maybe he's someone else entirely. A test subject whose memories have been wiped and rewritten so many times that he doesn't even know who he originally was. And if that's true, then Bert isn't just an old man with a soft spot for Irving. He's a living, breathing Lumon experiment. The Perpetuity wing and the frozen heads theory. There's also the fact that the Perpetuity wing is suspiciously similar to something Walt Disney would come up with if he had a cult instead of a theme park empire. We already know Lumon believes in keeping their leaders alive in some way, whether that means preserving their minds, their bodies, or something even weirder. So if they've been trying to store and transfer consciousness, it makes sense that Bert would be part of that. Hell, for all we know, he's already died once, and they just brought him back. And if Cold Harbor really is about transferring Kier's soul into a new body, well, maybe Bert isn't just a random employee. Maybe Bert was a prototype. So what happens next? If any of this is true, it means Bert isn't just some guy who worked at Lumon for a little too long. He might be one of the most important figures in the company's entire history. Maybe he's a scientist who helped create Severance. Maybe he's a test subject whose mind has been wiped more times than we can count. Maybe he's been placed in Irving's life on purpose, either to monitor him or manipulate him. Maybe he's already dead, and what we're seeing is just a version of him that Lumon rebooted. Either way, one thing is clear. Bert is not just a sweet old man with a love of art and a heart full of feelings. He's something else. And when we finally figure out what, it's probably going to change everything we thought we knew about Severance. Bang! That was a pretty good drive-by on old Twinkletoes himself, my man Walkin'. So that's it, my glorious mind-bangers. If you enjoyed this unhinged deep dive into corporate hell, smash that like button like you never smashed before. And if you want more of this unhinged crap, hit that subscribe button like it's the reset button on this century. With that, I'm Audi 5000. See you next time.